This is The Extensionists, conversations with great thinkers in agriculture. I'm Toban Dyck.
And I'm Jay Whetter. Hey, Toban.
Hey, Jay. Okay, we're just going to go. We're just going to get into it. So today we have David Lazarenko.
Yeah.
ThinkShift.
Mm-hmm.
He's the, what is his title?
Partner and executive vice president.
You know him.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. I met him once. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah.
Advertising and marketing.
Yeah, exactly. He's had a whole career in marketing, like you said, advertising and marketing. I just like that stuff. I mean, it's not a world I live in, but I think like that creative, how to create an ad that has impact, how to, a marketing approach to basically everything we do. We're probably marketing ourselves, and how do we do that more effectively? Even if we gather up a few little tips from David, I think it'll be a great conversation.
Yeah, and how to create marketing products and ads that don't look like marketing products and ads, right?
Yeah,
it's just like that's the trick.
Yeah,
right. It's to not
connecting or creating a large campaign and trying to connect with everybody on an individual level.
Yeah,
maybe that's not possible, but I mean that's the objective, right? Is that you kind of twig in something?
Yeah,
twig something in someone to make them remember you.
Did you watch Mad Men?
I saw an episode, maybe a couple. Did I watch it?
Well, I mean, so it's going to be two people talking about Mad Men who have not watched Mad Men. So I haven't either. My wife, Jamie, has, and she loves it. And I mean, it gets referenced all the time.
Yeah.
A good mutual friend of ours, Steve, always jokes that, my job is like John Draper and Don Draper? Don Draper.
Played by John Hamm.
Played by John Hamm, who's in Winnipeg right now, or was in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
And it's like very like slick. You it's like, you got a Scotch bar in your office kind of thing, and you have people in and you talk creative and you get lots of money. And like the advertising era is what, in the 60s or 70s.
Right.
And it's just this kind of very, very kind of wild, almost kind of hedonistic, just money flowing in enterprise, which isn't the case anymore in marketing and advertising. But a lot of people still have that, or that kind of that romanticized picture. But you haven't seen it.
No.
But in some cases, it is still the case. And I mean, even Burr Forest Group.
In some cases, it's still the case.
Are you going to edit that? 100% of the time, it works 50% of the time.
Okay, what were you trying to say?
Well, I was attempting to say that there is still that notion of the pitch to the client.
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting thing too.
Yeah. And you kind of do that.
Yeah.
You pitch to people all the time.
It's a little different than the Mad Men kind of scenario, but we still do. You still like the pitch, the proposal. You gotta convince someone that your creative idea is the one, and it's going to get them to where they need to be.
Yeah.
And all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's article writing. I'm sure it's similar, right? I mean, you pitch or people pitch you.
People pitch me sometimes.
Yeah, right. And so you got to make their case.
Yeah. Usually they know.
Got to be persuasive. Yeah. So I'm going to save it for the podcast, but I have an advertisement in mind that I want to chat with him about.
On.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is exciting.
It is.
Now I can't wait to get to that part of the podcast.
Let's get to it.
Okay. Do you like what you're hearing and want to support the Extensionists? If you are an agriculture company or association looking for a powerful way to get your message in front of Canadian farmers, then partner with us. Our listeners are farmers from coast to coast.
When you advertise with us, your brand isn't just another commercial break. It becomes part of our story. Ads on the Extensionists are personal and trusted. Our listeners value what they hear on the podcast.
Whether you're looking for a 60-second ad somewhere throughout the podcast or even an exclusive episode sponsorship, we have options that will work for you.
So if you're ready to get your message out there and connect with farmers across Canada, let's talk. Visit theextensionists.com for more information.
Our guest today is David Lazarenko, who's a partner and executive vice president of ThinkShift agency in Winnipeg. David, I've known you for a long time, but it's great to have you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
really nice to be here with you guys.
So we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff, mostly about like marketing, because that's your first love. And I find that so interesting, even though I don't know much about it. I know almost as much about marketing as I do about making coffee.
So not much.
So not much.
So not much.
Wow.
Well, you can tell our listeners where that comment it comes from.
Well, it's a legacy of a podcast recorded earlier today, so who knows when they're going to appear in people's ears. But
we learned that Jay likes instant coffee, and that's what he makes at home.
Toban was talking about all of his thousands of dollars of coffee makers, like a whole. It's like a Canadian Tire, well, not Canadian Tire, because you can't buy a Mocha Master at Canadian Tire. Maybe
I
you can.
don't know if you can, actually.
I
I just want everyone to know that I did not talk about my coffee makers in terms of dollar value.
Yeah.
So,
but my coffee maker is a jar in the cupboard, and a kettle.
Well, you also incorporate elements like the microwave. You mentioned. So
I microwave the milk. Who wants cold milk in their coffee?
We're trying to be charitable with our responses, but this is beyond.
So I don't know much about marketing. Yes, you hit the nail right on the head, David. That's why we have you here.
Well,
but before we get to that, we need to talk about comic books. Another thing. Well, so I know as much about coffee, marketing, and I just know as much about marketing as I do about coffee, and I know as much about comic books as I do about coffee. Although I have read Archie comics.
Archie?
It's been a while.
Wow.
Is that good? That's the microwave? That's the instant coffee of
that may be the instant coffee of. I think so.
Right.
I don't know if you'll find comic book fans out there. You know, the big Comic Con folks. I don't know how many are showing up for the Archie panel. No. I think it's a little bit lower on the rung than the DCs and the Marvels and the others right now. But maybe there is another universe out there. I'm just not following. But
yeah. I gotta go. I'm gonna go to a different Comic Con. My own version. I'm gonna start my own.
Maybe Comic Con like 1950. Like, it might have been big back in the day. But yeah,
Jughead Con.
Yeah.
All right. So what is it about? Like, tell me about this comic book history and what is it about it? Because they're incredibly creative. I do know that, and then and it's a massive genre. I mean, you talked about Comic Con, but what is it about them that appeals to you?
So I've been a lifelong fan of them. Of course, you know, like I got into them when I was young, and then kind of throughout, you know, the high school, university days, got out of it a little bit, just busy with life, and then got back into them, and there was something about it, like you said, there's a creativity to them. Yeah. People, when they think comics, they typically think of imagery. So, you know, it's like, it's hand-drawn storytelling. And that's a big part of it. But the part that they don't get is the layers of stories that are put into it. And the difficulty of telling a story in so few words, I think, is interesting. So I don't know. There was something from a marketing communicator standpoint I found really interesting.
Well,
yeah.
So what you're talking about the layering? What do you mean?
Yeah. So
is it there's the stories within the imagery, or
no?
Obviously,
So here's a great example with the Marvel universe that became so successful. Everyone with the movies were so amazed at the fact that they could, over a series of like 15 years, weave together all these movies into this big overall narrative arc that made sense at the end. And everyone was like, oh, this is unbelievable. But that's what comics have been doing for years. Is in, like, whether it's DC or Marvel, you have like hundreds of characters and they're all off doing their own things, but they're living in the same universe. They're in the same world. And then sometimes they come together and these stories blend, and they have to have this like consistency so that it makes sense. And so you have these layers of like what's happening over here actually had a little tweak that was over here. And it was just really like interesting strategic things. So I don't know. It just something about it. It was just the creativity, the thinking, the depth of the stories. People don't give it credit. They think comics narrow, short, like
Yeah.
Not much depth. Yeah.
Some nerd in his room by himself. I wasn't really into comics. Just kidding.
Were you? Are you saying you were the nerd in the room?
You are.
Oh, I was. Yeah. I absolutely was.
This is how we treat our guests.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's very endearing. Yes, exactly.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
That's very nice.
It's been really nice. Yeah,
I'll be leaving
for making
now.
the drive to Winkler. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right. No, seriously though.
I'm just gonna wait for Jay to get through his questions before.
Right. Yeah, you please jump in. But I can see I definitely see the appeal. So yeah, so you got all these arcs going on. You got these characters out in the periphery. If you're reading one comic about whatever person, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But you know that there's all these other, like you just in your mind, you know that they're all out there somewhere. But I think we have to get to potentially using that imagery in extension, which was kind of a fun way. I never thought we would take it this way. But what was it about that kind of led to your career path? Was that something that inspired you?
A bit, yeah. Like, so I always, and I think it was the artistic side of it, the creative side of it. I thought that was so amazing, and I used to like try to draw when I was young, and I didn't have a God-given talent for being able to draw and sketch and do artistic things, and I always thought it was so cool that people had that talent. Yeah. And when I got into university and started progression into like what I wanted to do as a career, I knew I wanted to get into business. I knew I was going to do commerce, and then I heard about this world of marketing, and more specifically advertising agencies, and I heard about like that they did creative. And it was astounding to me that something that was business related could have creative as part of it.
Yeah.
And that just sounded perfect to me. It just sounded like
a marriage of
these two things that made sense to me. This idea of business and creative. Well, that sounds perfect. And then that really became my purpose. I wanted to work at an agency. I wanted to get into the agency business. And that's been my career. Like, it's been 25 years now that I've been in the agency world of marketing. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know you're running the business.
Yeah.
Do you do much creative yourself anymore? Or like, was that part of your?
I was never on the creative side. I was never I grew up on the account side, the strategy side. Now, you would have people say like that strategy is creative as well.
For sure.
You know, like that it's not binary. It's not, well, if you're not drawing things, or if you're not designing, or you're not writing copy, you're not creative. So brainstorming and concept, I've been involved in that, and I still do I still do a fair bit of strategy with our clients. And so that's my creative outlet.
Like you said, though, I mean, it's not drawing things, but it's still very creative.
And I still wish I could have. I wish I could have and would have explored some of that, the design side of things, video, like animation and things like that as well. It's pretty interesting with AI being able to help you create. Yeah. Absolutely. So it actually does make me feel even more creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's probably creatives out there that are going to say, "Oh, you pretender." Yeah. So, yeah.
And how did ThinkShift evolve? I know it's had different names. I mean, it wasn't when you first started, but just give us a career arc.
Absolutely. So I started when we were two agencies that merged to become one. I started with one of those agencies, which was BCG, Bullman Communications Group, with a gentleman by the name of Robert Bullman. He had a small agency. I think I was the 7th or 8th hire. And it was that agency that did a lot of work with agricultural clients. And that was where I got introduced into the world of agriculture. Was I always so Cargill was my first client, and which was like the perfect client to learn about agriculture, because they were basically involved in almost every aspect of the value chain that is agriculture. And then I fell in love with agriculture. I thought this was like such an amazing part of business. And then we merged. I bought in on that side of the business, started helping to run it with him. And then we merged with, at the time, what was like a digital and brand shop. This was at the big amalgamation of traditional and digital agencies in 2010 to become ThinkShift in 2011. And we've been, since that time, kind of really focused mainly on kind of agri marketing, and trying, to always be 2 steps ahead if we can, and bring into agri marketing what we feel like is kind of best practices. And
This must be an exciting time in ag marketing.
It is,
especially for someone who likes comic books and stuff, because like there is an appetite for that kind of extension or that kind of communications, right? And I think, Jay and I have talked about too, like just there's an appetite for more creative ways to get messages across, and I think now kind of more than I don't know if more than ever, but more than in the last decade, there's a willingness to go there. Like, you could pitch a comic book to a client maybe, and they might take it.
Yeah. But I think of it like there's, when you write for radio, you got to condense everything down to about 4 sentences. And I think writing for actually the comic books add a secondary element, which is visual, which is so you got the visual creativity. But he said earlier about writing, like telling a story with so few words.
Yes.
And I think I'm not good at that. You can tell I ramble. And so cutting down to fewer words is but it's an objective of mine. And when I talk about like presentations and PowerPoints, I mean, if you can put 3 words on the screen instead of
or an image.
300 or an image, I think you're telling a much more powerful story.
Yes.
And I think even with comic books, if there's maybe, I don't know, 1,000 words in a whole book versus, I mean, I think the fact you can tell an amazing, compelling story that has a billion fans, I don't know how many people read, but I mean, huge, is something. There's something there. Like, obviously it's working. Why don't we do more of that in extension?
Because I think it's not easy. It's not, is it the Winston Churchill quote? If I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter. It's not easy. It's easier just to throw it all out there, like all the features, all the benefits, all the background, and put the effort on the audience to sort it all out. It's much more difficult to do the work. And I do think that, like, I love what you said, Toban. Like, I do feel like we are entering into a new time, a new period. There's so many things happening in agriculture at large, the world at large, that is going to be forcing us to do things differently. And I think it's on us to tell better stories or to tell stories better, even. I think, I
like that. Tell stories better. Yeah.
Like, can you think of an example of something, and it doesn't have to be like non-public, because you can't share stuff that's, but stuff that's out in the world now, that you're particularly proud of. It could be something that just came out last month, who knows, because it hit those elements where it was concise words, great visuals, and the results. I mean, measuring results is sometimes a challenge, but I mean that really hit all the buttons.
Yeah. It's a hard one to think of, because maybe it's just I'm always challenging my own thinking as whether I think I've actually ever,
or even an ad that you saw, because you say you like actually looking at ads.
I do.
That might be an easier way to approach it.
So I'll maybe, instead of it being an ad or an image, I do like to paint the picture of, like, we were actually talking about Amazon earlier when I was asking you about your coffee maker. And so one of the things that Amazon has done very well, very, very well, is they have tried to remove friction. They've tried to eliminate as much as possible what the audience has to do and do that for you, and we don't think about it in a lot of ways because we've become just so inclined to expect it now. So they will, you coffee maker, a couple of words, key search, whatever, they'll bring up, and 9 times out of 10, what you're kind of looking for is going to be in that search. They have all now listed, whether this is a sponsored piece or whether it's a top product piece or whether it's highest rated, all that right at very first glance, you could see, is this out of 5 stars? How many people really like this? And then it's just the key benefits, price, whether it's on discount, all these things that as a consumer, we want answered. They give to us in seconds.
Oh yeah.
Right.
It's not a long search. It's not an arduous search, not any of that. It's all right there. And then they'll give you, here's other products that are kind of like that too.
Yeah.
And it's just this whole idea of how much work they put into that so that we had to do as little work on our end.
Right.
And I think that like it'll go into storytelling and what you have like on a brochure or an ad or whatever it says. But that's that essence, is that like we will make it easier for people to consume and absorb and make the decisions that they need to make. So that's the example, at least that came to mind.
Yeah. That's and to appreciate the work that went into the back end of something like that, right? No, absolutely. Yeah. I'm trying to think of. Do you have an example of like of an advertisement or something like that really stands out to you?
Yeah, that's great. I'll put David on the spot.
Yeah, I know. Let's make you
turn the tables.
Squirm.
Boy. Well, I was listening to the radio this morning. I listen to a lot of CBC radio, so I don't see a lot of ads.
But while you're
things
thinking,
pop up on Gem and or on sports all the time. But yeah, okay, go.
So it's just in advertising is an interesting one, which we're talking about now. But on the corner of Highway 3 and Highway 14. So if you continue going down Highway 3, you hit Highway 14, which runs between Winkler and Morden.
Yeah.
There's a big billboard, and all it says, sorry, Abby, I'm going to cough. The producer. It just says "Welcome Home," and it's a picture of Winkler, and it's a triple E advertisement, like for the RV. They make RVs.
Okay,
in town here, but it's like it's actually just like a really kind of warm, fuzzy advertisement, and it's huge. And it just says "Welcome Home," and it's just like that's like sometimes ads just hit right.
That's a great point. Yeah,
and it's just like that was one where you just drove by and you felt like like I'm from the town, and it's like that feels good actually. Like it's a strange one because it's not saying anything about the business. It's not saying shop here or anything like that. It just says "Welcome Home."
That reminds me of something, and this definitely goes into the world of extension and storytelling and why we don't do stuff more often is so 9 times out of 10 we're doing communications, myself especially with an agency, we're doing communications for a business, for a profit business. Yeah. And we've either got a product or a brand, or we've got something that we want the other side, the audience, to engage with or buy or whatever it is. And so our very perspective is there's so much we want to tell you about it.
Yes.
So all we're thinking of is what should we say? What do we need to tell you versus what does the audience need to hear? What do they want to hear? So you being a good case in that one, the audience just saying "Welcome Home" could mean so many things to that audience in a great way. More than, hey, we got great RVs, right? Whatever it is, for sure. You know what I mean? Like, or we're local. You call out we're local, or you can say "Welcome Home." Yeah, and one is more impactful and emotional than the other. Like it's
very emotive. Yeah,
very. Yeah, absolutely.
But how much courage it takes?
Yes, that is another one. Absolutely.
Yeah. How much courage it takes to say less when you have the opportunity. So you have a billboard. You're like, holy cow, we got a billboard here. We have to pack everything on this thing that we need to tell the person driving by the vehicle. The same with a PowerPoint deck, right? Like you got the slide. You're like, I could do 5 words, but that's not quite enough. I also need to say this, but you don't. Like, it takes courage to not do that, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And trust that your audience is smart and is thinking critically and is also going to make the leaps that you want them to make when they see this or experience it. Yeah.
But I think this is just a little commentary about this conversation. We see ads dozens, if not hundreds of times a day.
I'm sure
and the fact that I can't think of an ad when you ask me, I think that is, I think that, I don't know whether I'm not paying attention because I'm not buying stuff necessarily. But I think that's really interesting. Like, how do you capturing someone's attention in a memorable way? That is tough.
That's in the world of marketing. That's to a certain extent one of the biggest trends taking place right now is that people aren't remembering ads.
Yeah,
They're not remembering content like they used to.
Yeah.
They're remembering experiences.
Yeah.
And so like I use the Amazon one because people will remember that experience that they had. And so that because we are just bombarded by so much that even some good stuff that could be in there is fleeting and we don't remember it like we used to. Like I still go back and I could think of jingles and taglines galore from years ago.
For sure.
But not from the last 5 years.
No.
Much more difficult.
I'm just trying to think, like I go we all do, grocery shopping at least once a week. And I buy often the same things.
You got your instant coffee. You got your
like I don't go walking up and down the aisles thinking I'm looking for this thing I saw on an ad. I don't know. It just it's the challenge of advertising. Exactly, kind of what you're saying, David. Yeah,
like to reach people, like to
actually change someone's mind.
But do you? So this is a great.
It is a good example. Yeah.
Great question for you. Is in that like. Do you buy something because an ad told you or convinced you to? Or do you buy something because the sum total of the interactions you've had with that brand made you feel good to the extent that you're going to say, hey, I'm going to give that a shot. Like, and I think that, again, that's that idea is I like, maybe I'll get in trouble saying this as an agency guy that I don't think ads sell product specifically. They are one part of a big overall effort of building, telling the right story, connecting people to your brand, ensuring that they feel that this is a trusted source. I don't think there is one magical ad out there that'll take someone from, I don't know who you are, to sign me up, tomorrow. Yeah. Maybe and I'm trying to think if like maybe there was a time where that was the case. I don't know anymore.
Or it's when we talk about empathy and connecting with people.
Yeah.
They're only going to hear the ad when they're actually shopping for that thing or they're thinking about it. And then it can, but otherwise it's just noise. And I think extension is I think it's a bit like that. So if a farmer is like thinking about a certain pest or a new crop or a new seed, they're only going to hear that message when they're ready to hear it.
Yeah.
What do you think, Toban?
Well, it's lots of interesting things. So like the benchmark for success for an ad is an interesting kind of topic because you have this ad that I remember, like that Welcome Home one. But I mean, that's just one of, many that I see that have probably have varying degrees of success on me in terms of like behavior, persuasion or whatever, right? That's one that kind of stands out. It's an outlier, but that doesn't mean it's the only one that's successful amid others that I don't remember.
That you don't remember.
Yeah. So you think of like an Instagram, like I used to be kind of heavy on Instagram, trying to be less so just for a spell, whatever. It doesn't need to be a thing. But like the advertising on there is like relentless and it's repetitive and it works. Like I find myself convinced that this slate of 15 products or 20 that gets re-advertised to me every a million times a day suddenly are the only options that I have to buy things, right? Or it's like, with a brand of like outdoor gear. I'm a sucker for outdoor gear. So all of a sudden these new brands, when I first saw them, I was like, oh, that's new. I don't know what it is. And then I see it over and over again. I start to be convinced that I need to get this. Yeah. Like I have to buy this jacket. Like it's wild.
And that it goes back to what you were saying, Jay, about because we now measure, because like Instagram is capturing what you have been engaging with in your scroll. So it's going to continue to deliver stuff that it deems as relevant. And so it's now creating this relevance bubble for you.
Yeah.
It does two things: is it does deliver stuff that like some outdoor gear, which is great, which you're going to engage with more, but it's also filtering out stuff that you wouldn't, or maybe you would, but you don't see it as much because it's not engaging. They are starting to get smarter with it and bring in like things that are tangentially, relevant.
Yeah.
And you're starting to see some of that, but it is very, very interesting.
We're taking a brief break from this interview to talk with Rory Cranston. Rory is Bayer Crop Science's technical strategy lead, and we're talking about managing tough weeds in Western Canada, specifically what cereal farmers need to know going into the 2026 season.
So what are the biggest weed management challenges cereal growers across Western Canada are facing right now? And how is that shaping their herbicide decisions?
Well, I think there's lots of individual issues to all fields. It's a big question, but really I think the driver, it's going to be resistant weeds. I think that's really what's pushing a lot of decisions and choices and narrowing down decisions. And it's really tough in a lot of cases because you think about how farms are going and the timelines we have to spray and the amount we have to get over. It really kind of impacts a lot of decisions on what we're doing for controlling weeds and, resistant weeds. Those are really I think the drivers and the time to do it and when to get it done.
What are farmers who want to stay ahead of these resistant weeds or tough broadleaf weeds in general? What are they doing differently with their spray programs?
So I'm going to start with what are they not doing? And I think that's kind of that recipe farming when it comes down to it. Following something and doing it over and over again. Worked last year. It's doing it across all my acres. Might work for some, but those other ones you might have an escape. I say herbicide resistance is Mother Nature's way of saying thanks for being consistent. And so I think, the approach of, being consistently inconsistent, keep that weed guessing with whatever IPM you can do of patch management, having a good establishment, then getting into your aspects of what can you do with your pre-burns and being cognizant of early timing.
Thank you for your insights, Rory. To help build out your cereal herbicide plan for 2026, talk to your local Bayer representative or visit expertcontrol.ca.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Even from an extension perspective, like a model like that algorithmic kind of, is there a way to kind of incorporate that? If there is a message you need to get to a farmer, is there a way to incorporate or use those algorithms to put that in front of a farmer over and over and over again until they start to be like, oh yeah, okay, this is a thing. I don't know.
And this is, you're starting to look into that, right? The digital delivery or the tech, like the online delivery. This is nothing new. And now we're getting into the large language models formats. You've looked into this. You talked a bit about the larger theme than that at the Farm Writers Conference.
Yeah, there's a few things. Like again, there's been the innovation that takes place in the digital world of marketing is rampant, and it has been for so long. And AI has just sped it up.
Yeah,
beyond belief. And we're going to see more and newer innovations and ways that we can engage the audience. The interesting parts will be, again, going back to how do we make sure that we use that to increase relevance for the audience?
Yeah.
So make it really contextually relevant to them so that they don't see it as like we're trying to shout something that is that has no bearing on them. So I think that's a really interesting one. So, and then you could use repetition to make sure it's showing up often. Like again, reminding them.
They're not missing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Not trying to just sell them on the first blast, which is okay. So that's another one. And even with like the large language models, like how do you show up where it's the same message but different, where it's not getting stale? So, again, like it's still around the same theme, same story, but you're telling it in multiple relevant ways so that you're not getting that ad blindness that happens so much. But and
is it like can AI tailor an ad now to the individual? Like, is it?
Oh yeah.
Not delivering an ad, but actually writing the ad. Like, can it think that fast So this user at your computer with your IP, whatever. Well, that person responds to these words, and then so the Honda ad or whatever is like perfectly tailored. Like, is that what we will, or do maybe we have that already?
It's capable of it. It's capable of doing it for sure. And it's getting to the point where it's capable of doing it at scale. Mm-hmm. So you can definitely do it where you can create a persona of Jay Whetter. So we take information we have on Jay and we put all this information in and we say, okay, here's the ad or here's the product. Yeah. Let's make this as absolutely relevant and engaging to Jay
as possible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And it will do it. It can do that. Mm-hmm. Now, can it do that instantly with an audience of 1 million?
Right.
That's where it starts to get. Right now, it does it based still on like personas. So Jay and others like Jay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
But the belief is that because of the computing power, at some point it'll be able to do it at a real personalized level, which is pretty amazing.
That is pretty amazing.
It is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Like that's scary and amazing, but
would we still need a ThinkShift for that? Or is it just ChatGPT writing all of our ad copy?
To all my clients, yes, of course you would.
Jay comes in with thanks, Jay. Yeah, I'm just using that as one example, but
it starts with I'm the nerd in the room by myself.
I know.
It leads to our agency still relevant.
Wow, you could ask the same question about journalists. I would say, I guess my point is that everything seems to be in limbo right now, job wise, and I'm sorry. David.
I know it's like it. Hey, I'd be lying if I said like the question. So I think that you're going to have the ability for it to do it. Now, I still think that humans can help to determine what is right and what is wrong. And so figuring out whether you should do it or shouldn't do it, and whether you should do A, B, and C, or just A and B, or whatever it is. Like there's a lot of stuff that we still need to guide the human in the loop, so to speak.
And I think that's where you and your expertise
is trying to save face right now. Yeah, exactly.
Well, because I was talking about this with my brother and my sister-in-law just a couple days ago about backlash against AI and can it fake authenticity? Probably someday, but it just elevates the value of a real conversation.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like I don't see ads now. I mean, I'm going to be less interested in the future.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like, I'm being manipulated because they know my algorithm or whatever. And so I'm going to tune it out. But if you tell me something is good, then I'm more interested.
I think we assume, like correct me if I'm wrong, it's all up for discussion. We assume AI is on these trends are on a certain trajectory that is kind of anti-connection or anti like people talking to people. But I don't think that's true. I mean, and this is just me talking here. I have no idea. Yeah. But I'm guessing that AI will stay in the picture, but there will be a strong desire, I would say very, very soon, for more people to want actual connection to other people and to products and to like tactile things. But that does not mean necessarily that the trend is then falling on the AI side. I think it's just going to change. Yeah. And that's my take. So I think for places like ThinkShift, I think there's always going to be a place to chat with David about strategy, because that will always be a fun conversation and a meaningful one in ways that I don't think any model, any tech will be able to replicate. That's my guess.
What do you think?
Well,
So I do think the way that I look at it is AI is going to eliminate low value efforts, things that, and we've seen this. So I use the example of like when Microsoft Word came out and it had spell and grammar check. It was great. It took out a low value effort of like, oh, I don't want to have to spell and grammar check my Word document. It was a fantastic addition to our lives because it was like it took out a low value effort in our minds. Now we still have to do some final edits to it, but it did a lot of that lifting for us. I think that AI will continue to do that. It's going to take out things that are deemed as, is this creating real value to the final effort, or is this just removing redundancy and, things that aren't adding value? It's also going to help us elevate the value of the high value tasks. So as a strategist, it can help me think through multiple iterations of something. It can help me explore multiple iterations of it. It can help me even grab context from another example to bring in. It can do all these things that help me guide someone in strategy, but it's not doing the strategy. It can help with all of that, but so that's where I see it. I think,
for sure,
and that again, but then you hear on the that artificial general intelligence will come in and it'll be able to do all of that. I don't know if that's going to be the case. Yet.
Yeah, but interesting kind of parallel possibly is the comic book one where you have multiple. You're kind of a layered approach to a communication, right? So you have the words, you have the visual, you have everything else that's going on. And I think like person-to-person communication is a bit like that, right? Like you might be able to say the exact same thing. You could even read what a chat GPT gave you in terms of strategy, but that's not the only thing happening at that moment. That person is also looking at you. You're also interacting on a variety of levels, right? So I'm learning this as I'm talking, right? It's an interesting approach, right? Because it's not just, there's more going on.
Absolutely, there is.
Yeah.
There's something that I haven't seen, like, it can do a lot of things and it's a fantastic tool. And one of the words that I use is like cleverness. I don't find it's really good at cleverness yet.
It's a good one. It's a good word. Yeah.
Cleverness is just one of those things where, and I'm sure you've seen it as writers, is that like, just, oh boy, the way that they captured that was so clever.
Yeah.
Something, and I think it's a mix of, it's not intuitive. It was like someone was able just to think of it and turn it on its head a little bit, and it just made it all the more different. It's not, I think it's still much too linear. It's like if you got A, B, and C, your probably best path is go to D. It's like, so I think that's part of it.
Recalling ads, and I've had a lot of time to think. So
this is what he's been doing the whole time.
This conversation has just been filler until Jay comes back to this.
I was saying, I want to hear.
No, this is gonna be good.
But I'm just thinking of cleverness. Yeah. And I mean, you might not consider this to be clever, but when you said clever, it struck me. So there's the Subaru ad where the Subarus are like dogs in a dog park.
Yes.
Right? And then the parents or the owners are like sitting there watching their Subarus drive around. Yes. Could AI come up? Maybe. I mean, but I just think that's kind of clever. And it was obviously memorable because it's one of those ads that eventually I do recall. But yeah. And so, like, how do we bring this back to agriculture extension? Like, are there things that you've learned in your career of marketing? So this is what I've said to my canola council colleagues often who were in agronomy back when I had a bunch of colleagues. But I said, like, we need to think of agronomy extension like marketing. And I actually didn't know how to do it. We needed to bring you in. Yeah. But I mean, I just like, so how do, like, from your marketing perspective, like, how do you take a concept of like how to control a disease, a pest disease, or an insect or fertilizer rates? How do you take a marketing approach to extension?
So I would say, I think I mentioned this, like this idea of storytelling. So, and I don't say storytelling as in like, it's like Goldilocks. It's like, you're not making something up, but it's how you're delivering it. So I think of, when you were talking about that, I thought of Neil deGrasse Tyson right now. Talks about really complex scientific things, but he's a really good storyteller. He uses analogies. He uses different tools to tell a story to make it make sense to anyone. Yeah. And I think it's the same thing. Like when we talk to farmers and growers and whoever else it might be, we are talking about some complex agronomic scientific stuff. It doesn't mean that we have to just talk about it like it's in a textbook.
Yeah.
And I think that's where marketing could come in. Marketing learned that we had to stand out. We had to tell a good story. We just said, hey, we're this, and this. It's just like features and benefits. It's not enough.
Yeah.
We had to have some kind of hook. And so I think that that's where extension, like there's a good story to be told or a good way to tell it in more of a story form where I think that could help immensely. I think you can see that for sure in the agronomic space,
And I think,
in the ag tech space, another one for sure. Where again, I think we're seeing adoption rates aren't as much as they should be, or as frequent as they should be. I think that's another area where we could actually, if we told a better story, maybe we'd see better adoption.
Yeah, I just got an email this morning of a guy. It was a forwarded email, but anyway, it doesn't matter. But complaining that farmers weren't adopting variable rate or section control fast enough. I was saying, well, because you haven't, just as you're talking, I was saying, it's because that you haven't told a compelling enough story about why this is going to save you money or make you more profits or make you more efficient, or like you need to connect in that way.
There was finally for me, so biologicals lived in this space of like, boy, they're just not telling a good story. So many biologicals have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think that category did itself a disservice because it went directly to trying to sell the product way too quickly. It did not tell a story as to why that whole category mattered. It just talked about why it was great and why it was going to be great and all this stuff. And it just missed the story. And so then it went to what it could. It was like, our product will do this, our product will do this, it'll do this. And so right back to features and benefits, sometimes with fancy imagery and all this stuff that we think works. When someone finally told me the story of there are threats at play now that conventional chemistry can't help with. Threats like abiotic stress, that we, like a herbicide or a fungicide or an insecticide or fertilizer, they can't solve. We can't throw these existing tools at it. And we now need some new tools to help with those. That was finally, for me, it was like, okay, wait a minute. Now there's a bit of a story. I understand why this world is existing, and then lead me into it. I think it's the same thing with like you said, with some of the ag technology. We didn't tell the story yet. Of variable rate well enough. We just told you, hey, we got all this data. Let's look at what we could do with it now. And it's like, that's just going to the cell.
Yeah. No, I agree. Any kind of talk on, or not talk, but like medium plays a role too when you talk about story.
Yes.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that? Like, and how to tell it? You hear tell story often. Like everyone's got to tell their story, and ag has to tell stories. What's your take on how we should think about the mediums? And
so I think that in general, like when I think of mediums, I think of the different delivery mechanisms and the ones available. Authenticity is different depending on the medium it comes through. And so if you're advertising something, there's always going to be a perception that story is biased. It might not be real. Right. It's a sell, Yeah. So if you're paying for it, if you're paying to tell your story, it might not be true. This was, I think, why kind of content, and even what you guys are doing, became so big, because it was like, we're going to give this information away for free. It's not a sell. And within the content, we're not going to even talk about our product at all.
Yeah.
I think that because we started to see, okay, that owned media, as we would call it, had a higher level of credibility. Even beyond that is then earned media. If someone else tells my story, it's not even me saying it now. That's even higher in credibility. And so I think that those are the ways that, like, and I do think that's probably why stories are also really important, is because if I could tell a really good story that Jay can remember and he really likes, there's a very good chance he'll tell it again.
Yeah. Right.
And then that opportunity for someone else to share it becomes even heightened. So
yeah. No, it's true. I know we think about like media training, and a lot of these boards for these associations want media training, right? And one of the kind of thoughts that I've had, I think Jay and I have talked about that, is instead of kind of a traditional approach of like CTV or CBC coming to your yard with a camera, it's more teaching the growers how to be kind of content producers or storytellers of their own, right? So that at some point they have a good LinkedIn post or Instagram post that tells a good story. CBC might come then, because they like you're saying now, like it's gonna get that kind of attraction. So it's gonna be less about them coming to your yard because of a crisis, but more something they can control. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I want to talk to you about strategic planning and the creativity within that. Which I think it'll be fun. But before we get there, so there's search engine. Obviously, search engine optimization.
Yes.
So writing content for Google so that Google can understand it. Now it's not SEO, but it's something else that I just saw for ChatGPT or these large language models.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
So all of these companies, these associations that Toban was talking about, who have these websites that have, like, is this ChatGPT version of SEO a key step to do now?
So it will be. So there's a few things that are going to be for sure's in the area. So first off is your website is going to need to be AI friendly. And what I mean by that is there's some websites out there that will have anti-bot restrictions on it where AI or like a ChatGPT can't scroll it. And if it can't scroll it, then it can't look at it, whether it's an authority or not. It can't pull it in as a contextual like quote or link or anything. Like that's not great. So you won't show up if it can't search you. Right now, and this is at least my opinion, there is no perfect method to show up in AI. So what it basically means is a lot of people now are searching through AI versus search engines. Even if they are searching through a search engine, it's being done through AI. And with search engines, there used to be fairly set rules. Google actually used to, like back in the day, release what their rules were for.
Yeah, I remember that.
They used to say, listen, we are going to give greater credibility to this. If you show up this way, then your chances of showing up in search, unpaid search, are increased. And there is no perfect tool. So if there's a lot of organizations and things that are saying that are like, it is not known yet. How are you going to show up in a ChatGPT response to something? So
I just heard that like your sentences have to be quite clear in what they're trying to tell you. And actually that's not a bad exercise. So I was going back through some of the content I'd written online for the Canola Council. And I'm thinking, I wrote that. Go back and read it 5 years later. It's like, no, I actually don't know what I'm trying to say here. So then you go back and like, if I don't know, I wrote myself, like farmers aren't going to know.
Yeah.
And ChatGPT is definitely not going to know.
Exactly. Yeah.
So some self-editing is definitely in order. It's just going to take some time.
Yeah.
Is there? Go ahead.
No. You answer that because I wanted to ask David about the strategic planning, which I love.
Is there like a marketing plan or advertisement or just something that you would love to create in ag but haven't had the opportunity to? Like just this kind of this dream kind of project?
Two things. So one of them, and we're starting to move there, and I alluded to Amazon before.
Oh yeah, that experience. Yeah.
There should be ratings, 5-star ratings on every product in agriculture. And there should just be a lot of people don't know, we worked on a number of e-commerce sites, and the site itself doesn't necessarily capture the ratings. There are ratings aggregators, and then you buy an API, and then it feeds that into the website. But someone out there should capture grower ratings on all products.
Yeah.
And whether you're on whatever website it is, you can see now contextually relevant rating of that product by the audience. I think that is critical. This is, we talk about like the credibility of that. I think that should exist in agriculture. And I think I think we're scared of it because it's like, well, what if it doesn't get rated well?
The trolls or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's of benefit to the user.
Mm-hmm.
The grower would see benefit. Farmer would see benefit. I think that's critical.
That's a really good one. Yeah.
The other one that I've always wanted to do and tried it, we've done it a little bit, is to I say own a trade show but not be there. So there's the idea of like, and then we hear this all the time about, it's so expensive to buy a booth at a trade show, the cost, we have to show up, bring our staff, do all this stuff. And it's no one stands out at the show and all this stuff. And my belief is that if you're really clever with digital marketing and even with the hotels around the trade show and the coffee shops and whatever it is, you could have the greatest presence at a trade show, like Ag Days or whatever it is, and not actually have a booth. And be the most memorable brand in that trade show that you didn't even have a booth, because everyone's like, oh my goodness. Yeah. Did you see?
Wear a huge pink top.
Whatever it is. It's like,
or like the neighboring hotel. Or
exactly.
That's super. That's clever.
Just something that you can own the experience without being at the experience. That's another one I would wish I could. We haven't done it fully, but I'd love to do that.
I think you guys could.
We've done, like, again, experiences around trade shows and food trucks, and we did a limo service one time, which went really well. But that was like, I think just going full out. It's the risk of not being there that clients usually gulp out of. Like,
you guys are both Manitobans. Have you done the meat shoulder thing at socials? So you take the salami and put it like, hey, Toban, good to see you. And then meanwhile, you put a salami on your shoulder. And so Toban's walking around the whole day, hey, and everyone's laughing.
I've never done it.
Did you not? Oh my goodness.
So I was thinking, you could have a little sticker for your brand. And you could walk around Ag Days and meat shoulder everyone with this.
Oh my God.
With Extensionist stickers. Should do that at Ag
You
Days.
could probably now, with 3D printing, do it on a bologna slice.
You could,
like a QR code on a bologna slice.
An engraved bologna slice.
Yeah.
Some good old Manitoba bologna. I love it.
Yeah. Schneider's.
The 5-star rating, though, I love. So we were at Canola Week last week, and I was moderating a panel on weed control.
Yeah.
And someone said something, and it was just so obvious, but it is something that I'd never thought about.
Yeah.
But farmers say, we actually have never seen head-to-head trials on herbicides. They have all their seed. Like, we have a row of these varieties. Yeah. But they don't know how one actually in the same field, how one herbicide performs against the other.
Yeah. Do a side by side of this is herbicide
and I know
brand X.
Yeah, exactly.
Y. Yeah.
But it's so important, because weed control, and you want efficient weed control, so you don't have to go back over and over. You're not contributing to the seed bank, and we've got kind of runaway herbicide resistant weeds right now.
Yeah.
So if a farmer could say, you know what, I need to control group 1, group 2, group 4 resistant wild oats. What product should I use? Here's some strip trials or whatever, or a 5-star rating.
Yeah.
And then with the comment options where it would say, okay, this worked really well in this scenario, and maybe, like, I heard Reddit is good for that kind of stuff. I have Reddit on my phone, never look at it. But I think that kind of community as a social media might be.
I agree.
Do you use Reddit?
I do. I use it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I follow it now. Reddit has become a fantastic place to gain insights too on farmers and what they're actually thinking and discussing. Like, I think there was a time where, like, chat sites and that were just, it was like troll central. And you could still get into those doob scrolls on that, but there's a lot of, like, great advice and just real authentic use cases and scenarios being like, you know what, Jay, I don't know. I tried this. It seemed to work really well on my farm. I gave it a shot. I did this one. I tried this other one. And maybe that's what might help you. Like that to me calls out that the audience wants that.
Yeah.
They're seeking it. So why not help them get that? Use side to side. So like, I know our clients are doing them. They'll do, of course, comparatives of here's one and the other.
Yeah.
But they'll put them out with like product advertising and product sell sheets. And so of course it looks like it's biased now.
Right.
It's
Yes.
like, hey, here's one treated with our competitors, you know, and here's ours. And so like something that is more central, like you see, like especially with seed trials, like there's lots of unbiased seed trials out there that do it. It'd be very interesting.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah.
And then to go in and see, okay, well, look at all these weeds here versus this. And I mean, it would be so visual. And I think it would be more visual than even a seed trial, because they often like,
yeah.
You could tell me there's a difference, but I can't really see a difference until you do the final
I can't
yield.
tell. And then you can tell me the yield, but like I can't tell if it's
Okay. Have we got 5 minutes to talk about strategic planning and the creativity? I'm not obsessed with this, but
I'm very curious about what's so exciting for.
I just think everything is strategic planning.
Sure.
I just think that it's, even if you talk about an extension or a communications plan.
Yeah.
And I just think, maybe what can we do in 5 minutes? I think what you could do is remind someone, like, just what are the steps in a strategic plan and why is it important? And I know we could have done multi-podcasts just on that topic alone.
Sure.
And we just blew through this time. I can't believe it's near the end. But anyway, have you got some takeaway thoughts on that, David?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do. And I could talk for way more than 5 minutes. I'll try to go really, really quick here.
You don't have to.
The first one is my approach has always been that you have to decouple those two words, strategic and plan. Strategy and plan aren't the same thing. Strategy is the set of decisions you're going to make to prioritize and create a finite set of things you're going to do. Plan is then how you're going to do those things. Those are the things you're going to do. Strategy, therefore, is much more important because, especially in our world, there are endless things you can do. If we think of extension, communication, there are millions of ways you can talk to farmers. Strategy is deciding how, when, where, like really locking in on, I'm going to do it this way. We're going to do it this way. This is even more important. We're not going to do this.
Right. Right.
It is what you're going to say, as much as what you're going to say yes to, is what you're going to say no to.
And the no list should be longer.
The no list should be huge. It should, because, and that's the hard, and
that would be
going
hard.
back to the very beginning.
Yes.
Why is it so hard? Because it's so hard to say no to things, especially if they all have merit to a certain extent.
Right.
And so strategy is choosing the path out of multiple decisions that all have relatively equal merit. That's why it's hard. The plan is then, okay, we've made those decisions. How are we going to make it work? And that is also where creative, and this is why creativity comes in, because creativity can come in and say, this is why we can make this path have more merit or elevated over this path. This is how we can how we could use one thing and turn it into like the value of 4. I think that those are, using the idea I threw out about the trade show. So we're going to do trade shows. We're just not going to do trade shows.
Right.
And because we don't have all the cost involved in showing up, we can actually strategically eliminate some of the cost because we're going to show up differently, the creative side of it. So
you could have, I mean, I was just thinking, like, even if you bought 15 people coffee in a day, I mean, that's a cost, but it's not the cost of going to a booth.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then if you can connect with, I mean, the value of like the pass along idea. If you connect with the right 15 people, especially if you're in a public place and they see you having coffee with this person, I don't know. I just think like there's creative ways to get your message across.
There's like, and I think that's the opportunity is if you could narrow the list of things you are going to do, then you can increase the amount of time you spend on figuring out creatively how you're going to do them.
Yeah.
When you've got 100 things to do, it's hard to look at every 100 of the items and get creative with all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah.
Have you found that's gotten like easier over time? Like I could imagine when ThinkShift was younger, it would have been like, as I think of even myself, young company, it's just like, it's so hard to say no to things. So if you think of a strategy, and for a client, you just want to say yes to everything. You want the strategy to encompass everything that all their dreams and hopes, but to be able to limit it and to say no to a bunch of things.
It's
courage,
easier on one side and much more difficult on another. So first off, I think it's easier now knowing, having kind of grown up in strategy and understanding it, to be able to walk them through that. Much more difficult because when I first got into communications and marketing and agriculture, there was 5 to 10 different channels to choose from.
Right.
There wasn't hundreds and thousands of different things we could do. It was a limited set. There weren't a whole bunch of different ways to go about engaging the farmer audience because there weren't a million ways to engage them.
Right.
So you had a very concise and defined set. Now that's completely changed. So it's much harder because there is so many different ways and different things you could do.
Yeah, I believe that for sure.
David, when you were driving out here in the snowstorm,
and
you're thinking, why am I doing this?
Looking for the billboard, I couldn't see it. Probably because it was covered in snow.
That's right.
But was there something that, when you agreed to do the podcast, even like you thought, I want to tell Toban and Jay and their audience about this. Like, did you have something that you really wanted to say that we haven't got around to talking about?
No, I think the part that I've just thought about so much is I really do feel like, so farmers, growers, they do so much. They work so hard to do so much for not just us, but for the world. And if we as communicators and as extensionists can make their lives easier, if we could tell a better story or tell a story better, like, it's on us. This is our job for them,
right? To
pay it forward to them, to make it easier for them. And I think that's the big one. Is like, that's what's been trying to kind of keep me going. Is like, no, how can I really support these guys? Like, even though I'm a marketer of products.
Well put.
Well, I think it just in this whole. We've kind of. I am on an empathy kick, I guess you could say, inspired by one of our previous guests. Because I was just dumping out extension material, not really trying to connect on a human level. But then you think of the farmer's perspective, where they're just bombarded. Everyone wants them to do something or buy something new. They look, and there's like, machinery is more expensive, margins are narrower, and you're thinking, okay, let's just take a breath.
Yeah,
like you're doing enough.
Yeah.
Okay. And maybe there's a couple little tweaks here and there, but let's tone it down. Tone down the change pace.
Quick little thing, and this was something that we found really funny that you say that. We were doing some research into marketing messaging and it in general in the space, and what we found was, I don't want to say it was fear mongering, but whether it was an ad or column or whatever it was all negative. It was all about the challenges you need to solve, the problem in your field, the weed.
Yeah.
And I think of the mindset of the farmer, the grower. They know how challenging the job is. Do they really want this whole outside source just telling them more about how down would that make you?
Yeah.
And so it was like, for us, it was like, man, there's an opportunity to tell this story in a more positive light. Like, there's got to be. So,
welcome home.
Welcome home. Hey,
yes. So, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good idea for an advertising.
Great billboard.
I just thought of that. I know we got to wrap up anyways, but the whole idea of like, not telling farmers these things because they know them already, right? You don't need to tell them about their challenges because they know them.
Yeah.
And how, like, again, as communicators, it's like trusting that your audience knows these things, and you don't need to tell them. Like, you don't need to tell them that. They know it. And to really, that's a hard thing. Like, I find myself in those positions often where, no, you got to say it because they might not know it. And it's like, no, they know it.
Yeah.
They get it.
They know it. They know their own challenges.
They get it more than we do.
Yeah. No, I think that's a really strong point for sure. Yeah.
Thanks for coming out.
It was my pleasure, guys.
This was awesome.
Really, I
so
thoroughly enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun.
And like the in-person thing is just always so much better. Like we would not, this would have been a great conversation, over Zoom, but not the same.
Well, we'll see. Like, we'll see what the weather looks like out there.
Yeah.
We might have a overnight.
Yes, sleepover.
Yeah. We'll make the coffee.
There we go. We're in charge of coffee.
I'll take care of the special brew.
Open up the little packs. A little sleeve of instant coffee.
That was great.
Anyway,
I'm probably not even going to tell my wife that you drink instant coffee. I don't think she'll like that. She'll be like, don't invite him back in this house. Yeah.
He's dead.
I know she's here. He's dead to me. That's right.
Alrighty.
No, this was really, this was awesome.
Thank you so much.
Hey there, listeners. If you're enjoying the conversations here on The Extensionists, you will probably love to get our newsletter.
Yeah, it's the best way to stay connected with us, with Jay and myself, yours truly. I'm excited about the newsletter, to be honest with you, because I think...
Why are you excited about
so many of our guests have...
Sorry. Why are you excited about it?
Say that differently, Jay. So many of our guests they say so many things of interest, right? And I feel like the newsletter will be a great way to share that with our listeners.
Like quick take-homes?
Yeah.
Summaries?
Yeah, absolutely.
One-liners?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think about each guest, we could probably write a whole bunch of articles from each of our guests, right? So to give our newsletter subscribers like summaries of, the key takeaways of these things, plus information on upcoming guests. All the listeners have to do is go to theextensionists.com and follow the prompts to sign up for the newsletter. I think it'll be great.
I had fun with David. How about you?
No, it was great. It was such a so interesting perspective and a great guy to chat with.
And we were teasing each other a little bit, but I actually don't think he's a nerd. Well, I guess, or I have actually a high respect for
yeah.
nerds.
I think it's an term of endearment for sure in that context. Absolutely.
And in fact, the comic book thing really kind of hit home for me, in that sending a message or telling a story in so few words. So it's facial expressions, it's action, and then it's toned down on the words. And I think there's a lot we could learn in communication with a few of those key tips from comic books.
Yeah, I like that too. Like, I like that whole idea of looking at, like there's more going on. And I think about this in terms of the conferences that we go to and the value of those face-to-face encounters. And we just say, oh yeah, there's so much more value in in-person meetings or in-person blah, blah, blah. But to really kind of, what is it? What is that value? What are we saying when we say that? And it's still, I haven't fully kind of fleshed that out, but the idea that it's not just the words we're saying to each other, because those could be via text or email or whatever. Yeah. It's everything. It's like you said, the facial expressions, but what is that? Like you're taking in something and that has meaning too, right? So, I don't know. Like there's,
but you said this even when we were planning our training sessions, is that like I would think about the word. It's about the article that matters, and you're like, no, Jay, it's the whole package. It's the visual, and then this comic book thing kind of just like emphasized that again to me. Like the value in a whole package, like a multi-sensory, not to say you're smelling anything or feeling.
Yeah, but that's like that is being talked about now.
Yeah.
Like that the olfactory or whatever, sensation. But
4D.
right. Jay's all
Maybe
proud
it's
of himself.
5D.
4D.
I didn't
I've heard
make
about it.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
but it is fascinating. Like
Yeah.
we've taken these mediums, like, we've, articles and video, and we've like separated them in a way
Mm-hmm.
that probably doesn't fit with reality,
Yeah.
right? Like that's not how they are, right? An article, when you read it, isn't just words, like, because that can be auditory
Yeah.
too. There is the experience of reading. There is the
Yeah.
like the visuals of blocks of text, like small ones versus big ones. There's long sentences versus small.
Yeah.
There's lots going on that isn't just encapsulated by reading, right? And
Right.
so when we are, I don't know, it's intriguing. I find that very fascinating, and I think for him it's really. He's a great person to talk to. He's got very clear ideas and obviously very creative and I think this must be very exciting for him to be in the world that he's in, where he can be like, especially as a comic book lover, right?
Yeah.
And there's an appetite for that now, so he can really kind of, let it fly.
We talked in a recent podcast about a book as an extension tool, how to grow coffee in Hawaii.
Right.
Like I think like a graphic novel.
You didn't even say I was gonna.
But a graphic novel for extension information. I don't know. I kind of think that'd be fun. It makes me think of something Diljit might think of.
Yeah.
Diljit Brar is that like you could do a skit, you could do a game.
Yeah.
You could do a graphic novel.
I think
I don't know.
for sure. Why not? Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and then I know you want to talk about strategy, and I think that's at first I was like, I mean, I wasn't uninterested in talking about strategy, but I wasn't like, I was wondering where you're going to go with it.
Yeah, no, and there's not much really more to say. I kind of, just the way David described it, as two separate things.
Mm-hmm.
So you got your strategy, and then you got your planning, and the strategy comes first, and it's like, what do you want to say yes to?
Yeah.
More importantly, what's the very long list of things you're going to say no to?
Well, yeah, I actually was going to guess that he was going to differentiate between strat and plan, because you said strat plan.
Oh yeah, okay.
And he never said it. He just said strategy.
Yeah.
And you said strategy. I'm like, that's not the same. And so then he recognized it right away.
So strat plan is one thing, but
Yeah.
strategic planning has two separate components.
Yeah. Then he never said he does strategic planning. He said he likes strategy.
Yeah.
It just registered as different. But I like the way he talked about strategy a lot, in terms of like that long list of things you don't do, and that's very selective list of things you do.
Yeah.
Right. And that's
Great exercise, though. I mean, it takes
Super.
some time.
Oh,
it takes time, but it's worth doing.
Yeah.
And then once you've identified those 3 or 5 things you want to do, then what's the plan?
Let's see, how do you execute that?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Anyway,
I'm honored that he did it, that he came out and came out to the farm and did this. This was fun.
Yep. We are the Extensionists. I'm Jay Whetter.
And I'm Toban Dyck.
Till next time. This has been a Burr Forest Group production.
We also want to thank the people working behind the scenes to make this podcast happen.
Abby Wall is our producer and editor.
Ashley Robinson is our coordinator.
And Michelle Holden is our designer.